So it's basically just the Rakdos control deck looking to kill every single threat that your opponent throws at it and eventually win with Planeswalkers. On the other side, Ian's playing a mono-red Madness deck, and he's playing basically. There's two different builds of this mono-red Madness deck that you can go with. You can either choose to play. Basically, it's you can choose to play Hollow One or not, and Ian's choosing to play the version with the Hollow One. So there's potential here for far more explosive draws in this deck, as you can potentially go, turn 2 Faithless Looting and then put multiple Hollow Ones into play.
Yeah, whenever I see Hollow One and Flameblade Adept in a list, I'm like, all right, well, we're in. No fussing around here. Take a look at this. Shahar's going to lead off with Inquisition. He sees Grafdigger's Cage out of the board, plus Blazing Root Wallop. Probably don't want to make him discard that one. And he did end up taking one of those Adepts. Also a pair of Chandra Dressed to Kill here as well.
Yeah, so really solid aggressive start. However, the big thing is Ian does not have an answer to this turn 2 Dreadhorde Arcanist, which, with the Inquisition is going to be extremely powerful. However, Ian does have Grafdigger's Cage. So you can play the Grafdigger's Cage to make it so that Dreadhorde Arcanist cannot cast spells out of the graveyard.
Also picks up a friendly trigger from the Dragon's Raid Channeler, which has had a big impact on Historic. Super powerful 1-drop, especially if your deck is planning to cast a lot of spells. You just get that passive advantage off of it, and then it even becomes a powerful creature at some point. Bomat Courier also hits the battlefield, though it's forced to stay home thanks to the Arcanist on blocking duty. But we're going to see Arcanist triggers here, aren't we? Not yet?
Well,
no,
not with the Grafdigger's Cage, yeah. But we are going to see a couple of 1/1s here. Seasoned Pyromancer, extremely good against this mono red deck, as a lot of the creatures in the deck are 1/1s, right? So just putting kind of a small army of them makes it really, really tough to attack through. This mono red deck is very, very strong against various controlling strategies. A little bit less so against the card Seasoned Pyromancer specifically.
Now that was brutal. Did you see that? Arena said, you may not play this card. Like, it was in black and white text. It's like, no. Don't even try it. All right, we're going to see Chandra Dressed to Kill hit the battlefield now. And that's going to +1. Make a mana and ping Shahar. So not a huge effect there, but the 4 loyalty Planeswalker is still there. This is a card that was destined for mono red, and it seems to have found a home here for Ian.
Yeah, and it looks like we have a bit of a stalemate here. Shahar does really want to try to get this Planeswalker off the battlefield. Of course, he also knows about the backup Chandra in Ian's hand.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, still need to find a way to fight through them if you can.
Yep, he found a way. Right-click attack all. So everything's going to come in. Attacking Chandra Dressed to Kill. He's just going to manage the loyalty that way. Wow, he managed that loyalty really well. Chandra goes into the graveyard. The only downside for Shahar is that the Dragon's Rage Channeler is now in the air and ready to start taking chunks of life away from him.
Yeah, as it is a 3/3 flyer here. But, as currently speaking, Shahar does have more pressure on the battlefield. He's got more permanents in play. He can attack for what? It looks like 7 damage here. Has Hive of the Eye Tyrant as well.
That could definitely come in handy, especially if it can take the Channeler off of Delirium while also getting a profitable attack, and that can be a pretty good use of your mana for the turn if you're Shahar. Here's that second copy of Chandra. Once again, going upstairs here, 4 loyalty on it. The 6 loyalty ultimate is quite powerful as well. So Chandra Dressed to Kill, very much a threat in these mono red decks. And we saw that last turn from Shahar, who sent all of his creatures over that direction.
Yeah, and it's possible that Ian wants to keep this Dragon's Rage Channeler on defense, but of course it has to attack.
Right.
Oh,
just had to get it on, man. Oh, there's a Kolagon's Command.
Yeah, and this
card could take out both creatures on the other side.
It can. It can also get that Grafdigger's Cage off the battlefield, right?
Right, even more important with the Crux in the yard, huh?
Right, so you can get that Grafdigger's Cage off the battlefield, attack with Arcanist,
Oh my God.
Cast Inquisition.
Oh, he's
Eat
not
that
going
temper.
for it.
Okay.
Oh, that had to be so tempting.
Yeah, that's really interesting here.
Uh-oh, we got an interesting here out of Paul. Let's see
Uh,
how the next couple of turns how this plays out. He's
I
got a
think.
plan.
Oh, I think you can trigger and target, and then call against command and response.
Okay. Wait, is there a reason? Or
Oh no, you can't. Never mind.
also, you may not play this card comes
You
up
can't.
again.
You cannot. You cannot. Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised there. I thought we were going to see the K command on the Grafdigger's
Yeah.
Cage to cast the Inquisition for Ian's last card there, and kill a creature on the battlefield too.
I mean, killing a creature on the battlefield means that you for sure get Chandra. Like, there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah.
Now it looks like this Chandra is just going to end up soaking it up. You know, Shahar's got to be thrilled with this, right? Chandra comes down for 3 mana, does a damage, and then just dies. Like, he's got to be thrilled with that outcome.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I mean,
he's going to pay the 2 life for the command mana available here.
Shahar, of course, still looking very good here. Is he going for an upkeep Colligan's command on Grafdigger's Cage?
No, he let him draw his card, so that would give more selection here to Ian. We know this Kolaghan's command is going to have a big impact on the outcome of this game. It's just a matter of when Shahar decides to time it.
Remember, there's that Kroxa in the graveyard too, and Shahar's got to be awfully close to escaping that Kroxa.
Right. And is this a little bit of desperation here from Ian? He's attacking with the Bomat Courier right into the 1/3 channeler.
Shahar does have to be mindful of his life total. He's at 11. You're playing against a mono red deck. There's a Raminep Ruins on the battlefield.
So. Oh, yeah. You know when you see Raminep Ruins on the battlefield that your opponent is capable of burning you out for sure. There's Fiery Temper as well. That's another burn spell. And you know that can go to the face. And it is.
He is going to the face with this.
This is a bit of an all-in play here from Ian Birrell, but that seems to be the position that he's found himself in.
And is he keeping the den? It's a little bit awkward.
He's not.
And he can also pump the Root Wall. So is this 9 damage going through, potentially? I don't know if... I think the 2 creatures in play did not get blocked.
Right, it's at least 7.
Now
it's going to be the full 9.
Yeah, so Shahar's probably going to kill the Root Walla and the Kolaghan's command here.
And the cage, yeah.
Excuse me, the cage.
So that'll knock him down to 5. He's got a pretty devastating board here.
So Shahar needs to find... Shahar needs to... excuse me. Shahar needs to find a way to deal with this flyer, right? If Ian draws an untapped land, that's 5 damage.
It is. Shahar is cutting this very, very closely.
Does Shahar have a 1-mana spell in the graveyard to deal with this channeler? Doesn't look like it.
I don't think he does.
Might need to actually just activate the channeler here to try to dig and find an answer for this 3/3. Just because on board here, I mean, you're looking at that Raminep Ruins. You really want to find a way to deal with this this 1-drop.
Looks like he's going to go for Kroxa and just cross his fingers. You know, we used to call him Lucky Shahar. You know, if Ian finds just some random creature or whatever, he's probably in fine shape.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, though, I mean,
bad.
Fiery Temper, also an out.
Fiery Temper is just lethal. And here comes Shahar. Okay. He's going to bash in. And we're going to see if Ian Birrell can top deck a victory here. He's probably got a lot of outs out of it. A big chunk of his deck are wins.
Yeah, I mean, a land.
It's a good chunk right there. Yeah, land or a burn spell.
Land or a burn spell. The classic mono red.
Shahar's like, just draw a Root Walla.
Just needs an untapped land. Oh, okay. He still has this. He can find Fatal Push.
All right, he missed. He found a land here. He's going to play it. That's setting up for lethal, but it's Bomat Courier. He could still find a burn spell with it, right?
He can if he has like a Pillar of Flame effect in his deck, which I'm not sure that he does. But
Would
yes, he
Fiery
can.
Temper be good here?
Well, he can't. He'll be a mana short. Oh yeah. Let's see.
It's just 1 red to sack the courier. Yeah, he would.
No, he'll be a mana short. He can find if Faithless Looting is under that courier.
It's a Blazing Root Walla. He gets Shahar down to 2.
Oh,
and he
quite.
has to scoop him up. Oh, man. Shahar really made that one exciting for us. And super, super close between those two in game number 2. But I will remind you that our 2-2-0 players here, they were, that was one game, 2 Ian coming in. So that's only the one to even it up. We get another game between them.
Yeah.
Good God, that was close.
That was incredibly close. Again, I'm sure there were a number of things that Shahar was looking at there in terms of choosing what to do with that K command. It just so turns out that Ian had a burn spell in hand. Of course, had he used the Culligan's command, then cast the Inquisition out of the graveyard, then Shahar would have been in a much better situation where he likely wouldn't have been a top tick away from dying there.
Mm-hmm. Oof. It's really close.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, you see those 3 copies of Fatal Push in the deck there for Shahar. Man, he'd love to see a few of those, hitting a Channeler with it. Hitting any of the early stuff outside of like maybe a Root Wall is not particularly exciting, but.
Right. Hey, but now Ian gets to go first. And that's obviously very, very big in this matchup. So,
right.
If he gets that, the old Faithless Looting double Root Walla draw.
Let's see what he's got. I see a Faithless Looting.
They're on top, Marshall. It's on the top.
It's not too late. Oof. Is he forced to keep a hand like this? It doesn't do anything until 3 unless he hits with the looting.
Right. I mean, with the looting, you have to think that there's a really solid chance you find a play at least on turn 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially with the redundant Chandra, right?
Exactly. Oh, and look, he's actually waiting. If he waits, that means if he finds a hollow one next turn, he can play a 4/4 hollow one and pay 1 mana for it.
Oh, okay. Going for the upside here for Ian Birrell. I like it. Let's see what he finds off the top. It's a Fiery Temper.
Okay, so you play your land because you can pitch the Temper, worst case scenario.
He's going to pass again.
Okay.
Look at this guy, Ian Birrell, coming with the deep strategies here. This isn't your normal mono red deck. And there's the hollow one. He gets paid off.
Right, but at this point, you might just be incentivized to just run out your Planeswalker.
Yeah,
right? Because Shahar's representing, who knows, all kinds of removal here.
Yeah, he's just going to play Chandra plus it.
And now, what is
looting? No.
Does Shahar have to? This feels awful, but do you have to double heat the Chandra here, or heat Culligan's command? I mean, it's not a great position here.
It's also awkward because he's got Mountain and Hive, so he would have to heat like down payment and then untap and heat. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Doesn't even get to do it all on end step here.
Not great.
Boy, Unholy Heat, when it has Delirium, becomes one of the best removal spells in the format, but without it, it's just okay.
Yeah, and now with that Pyromancer, I mean, Shahar might choose to go with that route instead and just litter the board with creatures as kind of the way to deal with this Chandra.
Yeah, and he can start to load up his graveyard here, get halfway to Delirium if he wants to go like land other thing, any 2 different types basically.
Yeah, maybe a Heat and a Fabled Passage or something.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. That also gets him a 1/1 on the battlefield. He finds Go Blank Blood Crypt before passing the turn back with 3 power on the board.
And I think it might now be time for some Faithless Looting action.
Boy, and does he have enough mana to get the Fiery Temper Madness and kill the Pyromancer as well?
Yeah, he can Faithless Looting, Fiery Temper, and play Hollow One this turn.
Hollow, I like that. All right, here it is. Faithless Looting to kick off. Now, he didn't find another copy of Hollow One. Instead, it's Dragon's Rage, Channeler, and a Spikefield Hazard. So the easy discard is Fiery Temper because he can Madness it. And it looks like he's going to give up on the top end here of his Ox of Agonis.
Yeah, it's tough because he does have a bunch of lands in hand, so he's almost going to get to the point where he can hard cast it. But then again, I mean, if you play enough spells, you can eventually just escape the Ox of Ogonis.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that must be his thinking. So there it is, Fiery Temper to take down the Pyromancer. And that's really important here. The Chandra is on 4 loyalty, only a 1/1 for Shahar at this point. And there's going to be a 4/4 on the other side here for Birrell if he wants it. And he gets to play the Channeler too. What a turn for Ian Birrell. Boy, that patience really paid off for him.
Yeah. One note, though, is that Kolaghan's command really effective against Hollow One, as it is an artifact creature.
Oof,
so
that's tough.
So he will be able to get both the Channeler and the Hollow One off the battlefield. Unclear if he has Delirium, probably not.
He's three to the good.
Yeah, creature land, and he doesn't have a sorcery in his graveyard just yet. He's got that Go Blank in hand, so he can also do that, right? He can Go Blank, he can cast Go Blank, which just completely removes everything that you have, then cast Unholy Heat on the Chandra, and then just take 1 hit from what's on the battlefield, and then next turn cast Kolaghan's command. That seems like a really strong line.
I like that. The only downside to it is leaving the Channeler on the battlefield, but you force Ian to top deck stuff for it, right? Like he's going to have no graveyard, no hand. Oh, it looks like Shahar's going to go for the give it to me now line. Oh, and look at that. The artifact and the creature made Delirium for the Channeler and state-based actions made it 3/3. And that means it doesn't die, and we get an oops from our 2-time world champion, Shahar. And Ian, nice guy, says sorry, but
do
that's
you have
how
to
that
just
works.
Do you just have to heat it? I think you just have to heat it now. Maybe.
Maybe
he blocks.
Good part is,
will you block? Please block. Come on.
Yeah, just one little blocky block. No, not going to happen.
Oof.
Wow, what a beating for Shahar. You know, there's not many cards that have 2 separate types like that. But Hollow One is one of them. It counts for both creature and artifact. I think he may have only needed the artifact at this point, but still.
Yeah, I mean it's the classic Tarmogoyf situation, right? When you shock a 1/2 Tarmogoyf and there's a land in your graveyard, well, it's a 2/3. So
it is.
Very similar interaction here.
Oof.
Yeah,
that's a tough one here for Shahar. Now he does have, you can see he's got the tools, right? He has Chandra Torch of Defiance, which can kill the Channeler. He has Unholy Heat to kill Chandra if he can get his Delirium up, and he even has Go Blank to kind of wipe out whatever it is that Ian's doing. But that's a lot of mana. Like, he needs some time to do this, and I think Ian's going to really get on his horse and ride here and make Shahar's life difficult.
Yeah, it's just the thing with this Rakdos deck. It's all about sequencing. And, you know, trying to effectively deal with every single little threat that your opponent can have. And, I mean, you don't necessarily have the best margins for error with this deck. You have to kill everything in a clean and efficient manner. So, he does have some of these answers. And this Go Blank's going to be very effective, right? You know, you're going to get the Ox of Ogonis and what have you. But that K command...
it was a disaster.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
It was a disaster. We'll see if he can come back, though. This is Shahar we're talking about here. He'll focus back in and try to find a line. Also, you know, a timely top deck of another cheap removal spell or something could swing the difference. He's not out of this.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you consider that this Go Blank is also going to shrink the Dragon's Rage Channeler and just turn it into a 1/1. So that's also helping to minimize the clock.
Yeah, Shahar's at 14. He's okay.
Yeah, I mean, this Go Blank will still be very, very good.
Huh. Legion Warboss out of the sideboard here for Shenhar. Interesting. I don't know if it's what he wants at the moment. He's got a lot of options, but he can cast 2 spells this turn, but he can't cast Warboss and Go Blank or Chandra, but he could like Chandra Unholy Heat, he could Go Blank Unholy Heat.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like what you want to do here is Go Blank, and then I believe this gives him Delirium, right?
I think this is his first sorcery, and if it does, then yeah, it is.
Then you kill Chandra.
Yeah,
and then okay. you're okay. I mean, there's a Den of the Bugbear that can get in next turn.
Yes.
certainly in a much better situation. Double check that graveyard.
I know you saw him look like just. I'm just gonna make sure.
Yeah.
And now the
Oh,
Channeler's down. Big top deck here for Ian Birrell. He'd love to see something to trigger the Channeler and get it going again. Oh, he finds another one.
yeah, and
I don't think that's what he wanted.
Shahar might be very close to turning this around here, given that Ian's basically out of resources at this point.
Yeah, it's Den, hit you go.
Yeah, then hit you go. Now Shahar doesn't have great blocks here.
No, he sure doesn't. Also worth noting that, it could be that Obosh the Prey Piercer becomes a factor at some point, given that Ian's more or less run out of gas.
Yeah, we can definitely see. I can definitely see Ian just going Dragon's Rage Channeler, put Obosh into his hand,
Right.
and then go for a really big attack next turn potentially.
He's going to attack here. I think he senses that Shahar would prefer to trade for the Root Walla for life total purposes, and that he can keep his Channeler on the battlefield while still getting in. And these attacks matter, right? Like when you're playing mono red and you're playing a Ramanop Ruins deck, like 1 damage can easily be the difference. Looks like Shahar, though, says, you know what? I'd rather get the Channeler off and take an extra couple of damage, but that adds up. He's down to 11.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy about the second Dragon's Rage Channeler here.
Right, it just got replaced, and Obosh goes into hand. Here comes Chandra, Torch of Defiance. But this is just going to be a removal spell, right?
It might be Chandra just into Warboss.
Oh,
Then
okay.
you have a blocker, but of course with the Obosh, Ian can still kill this Chandra, right? No, he'll only be able to get in for 3 damage on the Chandra.
Yeah,
Cast the Obosh.
If Legion Warboss wants to trade with the Root Walla.
Right.
Huh. Good game. Really close.
I mean, Obosh is pretty tough, right? It's got 5 toughness. This Chandra can't even get it off the board.
No.
And now Shahar is being kind of forced to chump block with this Legion Warboss to kill the to keep the Chandra alive, which I think he has to.
I think he just attacked both. Yeah, he attacked both at Shahar. Ian has no chill today. He is getting in. Ooh, Seasoned Pyromancer off the top. For Shenhar. Perhaps a bit of hope here.
Yeah, so Shahar, if he wants to get max value, can choose to play the land first. But then you don't know what you're drawing. Do you want to play it tapped or untapped? Do you want to take the 2? That's definitely a big decision. You do have a Chandra in play, so if you do need the additional mana, you can use the Chandra for more mana if you want. Because worst case scenario, you can go Seasoned Pyromancer, draw 2 cards, activate Chandra, and then make 2 more tokens with the Seasoned Pyromancer that's in the graveyard.
Ooh, there's a Fatal Push and a Witch's Vengeance. Can he combo these to get Obosh off the battlefield? Not really, right?
Yeah, he can go minus on the Chandra,
and then Vengeance.
Target Obosh, then Witch's Vengeance.
That's
but
good.
He would lose. Oh no. What is Obosh? An elemental? No, Hellion Horror, of course.
Yes. What else would it be, Paul?
Yeah. So he's definitely good. He's definitely going to do that. And then now I wonder if Ian's going to regret not choosing to attack the Chandra. Right? Because now that Chandra was able to kill the Obosh.
Right. He can throw a den at it. But now the Seasoned Pyromancer's there. Uh-oh. Shahar's starting to really look okay here. If he gets to untap with Chandra again, we know how this goes.
And I wonder if Ian just committed to the go to the face plan here.
He is. He's attacking both at Shahar Shenhar. But these are easy blocks here for Shahar.
Yeah, he's more than happy to go Goblin on the Root Walla and Pyromancer on the Den.
Yeah, I mean, Ian is super aggressive with this deck. Shahar's going to take 1. The board will be clear outside of 1/1/1 Goblin on Ian's side. There's a Chandra, Torch of Defiance, and a Fatal Push, plus Seasoned Pyromancer in the graveyard, plus creature lands for Shahar.
Actually, Shahar, considering just blocking the 1/1, that would also be a fine block. Just take two. Just take the 3, and then put the
Really?
Pyromancer in front of the 1/1 to have that extra creature in play. Given that Ian has 2 more Den of the Bugbears in play.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But of course,
Oh
that
man, I
does
couldn't do it.
put you into potential few top decks of burn range, right?
I mean, isn't there an unknown card in hand for Ian here? Like, why couldn't that be a Fiery Temper or something, right? I mean, now he knows, but
it could have been, yeah, for sure.
I'd be scared. I'll tell you that. All right, Chandra, do your thing.
Yup, you're going down.
That was an Inquisition, so just 2
2
damage.
2 damage.
And does Shahar just start firing up his own creature lands here? He's got a Fatal Push that can take down a creature land from Ian's side.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to want to close out the game as quickly as possible on his end, given that he's at 6 left, right? There's a Ramunap Ruins in play. If you do this, you still have a Fatal Push for a Den of the Bugbear, and Ian doesn't have the mana to activate both of them.
A little bit conservative here from Shahar. He's going to leave up the Seasoned Pyromancer and the Fatal Push. Mountain off the top for Birrell. And this one's starting to fall away from him rather quickly. Yes, he has Shahar at 6, and he does have burn spells in his deck, but he hasn't been able to find them. And every turn that Chandra's on the battlefield, either Ian's life total's plummeting or Shahar's drawing extra cards per turn, and that's going to be really tough. Well, I guess Shahar's kind of committed to the line of just blocking with the Pyromancer here, right?
Yeah.
Like otherwise he just would have attacked with it.
Right. I mean, he can block the 1/1 and Fatal Push the 3/2.
Yeah, this is just, he could have got in for 2 and had the same result. I'm sure he's playing around something, but
right.
Okay, Magmatic Channeler off the top.
All right, so what, Shahar's clawing back here, right? He's going to have a lot of creatures in play, and so if the game goes on for a couple more turns, he's gonna get this. If you're on Ian's side, Faithless Looting. That's what I want to draw. I want some Faithless Looting into Fiery Tempers. That's kind of where I want to live my life. Yeah, exactly.
I like how you think, Paul. 1 Faithless Looting, 2 Fiery Tempers. What could possibly go wrong? Here's Magmatic Channeler.
Anything?
And it's a hollow one. And that means that Shahar Shenhar has this one pretty much locked up. He's got a much bigger board. He's got Ian effectively at 3 life here.
Psych. Okay, you can still Faithless Looting into double.
Oh, God. There's 1 Fiery Temper. There's one of them. Now, he can't survive here, though, right?
No, he cannot.
He's just dead. Oh, man. There was 1 Fiery Temper, but yeah, he needed to hit that Faithless Looting into double temper. Extraordinarily unlikely scenario. And it looks like we're going to see both the Hive and the Den get activated here. And then Shahar can send in with a fleet of creatures as he receives the good game from Ian Birrell, and Shahar Shenhar is going to kick off the festivities with a 3-0 start. Nice work for Shahar, and Ian, good start for you too. You're still at 2-1 after the historic rounds here. We've got, of course, standard coming up for you in just a little bit, but we're still in historic mode.